Well, what we're doing today is reassembling this little kiosk, which is the only survivor of about 7 kiosks that were part of the IBM Pavilion at the 1964 New York World's Fair. This is a new acquisition. We made it last year. It's just undergone a lot of conservation, so today was the big assembly day. One of the nice things about acquiring this, and last year and taking it apart now today on Charles Eames's birthday as it happens, reassembling it, is getting a real sense of the elegance of how the kiosk is actually put together. So it's got this great combination of very kind of lean, very spare structural elements, but it's very strong. It's elegant from a design standpoint, and it's elegant in a way that doesn't conceal the elements that make it what it is. So it's got a kind of raw feel to it. And that actually, again, when you see it in something like this, you can see it in the Eames designs across the board. Much of their furniture, if you will, reveals the materials that are being used for their construction. There's a number of reasons why it's significant. One of the bigger ones is just what was going on at the 1964 New York World's Fair in the IBM Pavilion. They were demonstrating a lot of computer technology, a lot of office technology. They were well known as a sort of large corporation, if you will. So part of what they were trying to do at the fair was appeal to people in a more general sense and to convey actually the real significance of what their technologies could and were doing at the time. You have to think of it in an incredibly kind of high-tech environment, with a very elaborate theatre, this sort of ovoid theatre into which an audience ascended on bleachers, and so a multi-screen presentation. All this technology being demonstrated. So part of the significance of this is them finding a kind of light-hearted, traditional seeming architectural form in order to provide an interesting context for all that technology. The Henry Ford's interest in this is kind of threefold interest. So we're very interested in design, and we have collections related to design from many eras. We've got some really great collections related to the work of Charles and Ray Eames, so it's a really good example of the kind of work they could do. We have very strong collections at Henry Ford related to communications and information technology. So the association of this kiosk with IBM and IBM's program of education at that New York World's Fair, and just IBM generally in that period, this segues again with our interest in how those companies grew, how they presented themselves. So we've got the design and we've got the technology angle. The other thing I think kind of rather special about this is Charles and Ray's interest in very traditional design forms and architectural forms. So for all their reputation as people who were at the forefront of mid-century modern design and modern design in general, they had an incredible fondness for folk art, for kind of toys, particularly more primitive toys, and like traditional architecture and everyday sort of street architecture. So this has a bit of that tip of the hat to say bandstands and carousel architecture, fairground sort of coloration, if you will. So that too is something very deeply wired into the Henry Ford's collection. So it's got this, it's a nice convergence, a really powerful convergence, if you will, of those areas.